They say the pines can whisper, but sometimes when the wind dies down, you'll hear something else. A breathing, a growl, a voice that never should have learned your name. Tyler Raines came back to Silver Pines at midnight, headlights off, engine coasting the last 100 feet. He hadn't seen this town in 8 years, not since that night in the quarry when his friend had bled into the dirt and Tyler had run, breathless, heartless, gutless. And now he owed something to the woods, to the past, to whatever waited with claws behind the trees. He killed the engine. Silence fell like a curtain. The forest was watching. He felt it deep, beneath skin, beneath scar, like a heartbeat that didn't belong to him anymore. He got out, boots crunching frost and leaf rot. The air stank of pine sap and something else. Something sweet, like meat gone wrong. He lit a cigarette not because he wanted it, but because the ritual helped. Something familiar in the flick of flame and the curl of smoke. A rusted sign leaned into the trees. No trespassing. DNR property. Someone had scratched words beneath it in deep gouges. The debt comes due. Tyler smirked, but it didn't reach his eyes. Still dramatic out here, he muttered. He reached into the glove box and pulled out the only thing that mattered. A photo, creased, burned at the edge. 2 kids, arms slung over shoulders, laughing like the world wasn't cruel. Tyler and Dean. Before the woods, before the howl, Dean was gone. At least, he should have been. Because last week Tyler got a package, no return address, just the photo and a cassette tape. On it, Dean's voice, older, broken, whispering one sentence before the tape cut to static. "I paid your price, Ty, now pay mine." They were just kids when they found the old shack in the woods. When they made the pact, they thought it was a joke. Say the words, spill the blood, earn the strength. Dean wanted to protect his mum. Tyler just wanted to stop feeling powerless. Neither of them believed the legends, not until Dean changed. Tyler remembered the sound of bones cracking like wet branches, the scream that turned to a howl, the moment his friend wasn't his friend anymore, and the way he ran. He stared at the forest now, lit only by moonlight and the last glow of his cigarette. "All right, Dean," he whispered. "I'm here." The trees didn't move, but something deep inside them did. He stepped into the woods. The shadows swallowed him whole. What really happened that night in the woods? Is Dean alive or something else entirely? If you've ever felt something scratching at your memory, like this story, so it never gets buried. Tyler didn't remember the path, but his feet did. Muscle memory guided him past a broken log bridge, through a thicket of gnarled birch, and into the forgotten hollow where everything went wrong. He kept his flashlight off. Moonlight filtered down like judgment. There were carvings on the trees now, marks he didn't remember, some fresh, some bleeding sap. Dean always liked symbols, said they made the deal real. Tyler had laughed, then run. Tonight the laughter was gone, the silence was louder. At the base of the hollow sat the shack. Collapsed roof, door hanging sideways. He paused, hand on the frame. Inside, he expected bones, or worse. Instead, he found a lantern still warm, a mug half full of coffee, and a cassette player on the table. He presses play, static. Then, "Ty, you came back. I didn't think you would." Dean's voice, slower now, older, wounded. "You always ran first, even back then." A cold wind swept the shack. Tyler stepped back like it had teeth. He didn't know what brought Dean back, not really, but guilt. It leaves trails, and monsters follow those. There was a sound outside, like claws raking stone. Tyler ducked low, peering through the broken window. In the tree line, something moved. Slow, deliberate, big. He didn't breathe. Then the voice again, this time not from the cassette. "You broke the pact, Ty." It came from the dark. Tyler stood slowly. His hand went to the hatchet on his belt. Old habits die hard. "Dean?" No answer. But then, Tyler's breath caught. "Dean, you're..." He couldn't finish. "I stopped fighting it. Dean said, voice gravel and pain. You should have too. Dean twitched, his claws curled. They're coming, he said. Who? Dean looked up. Moonlight caught the scar that ran from his cheek to his throat, Tyler's old knife wound. The others who made the pact. They didn't run. Tyler stepped back, heart jackhammering. You said we were the only ones. Dean's smile was pure grief. No, Ty, we were just the first. Who else made the pact? What's hunting them, and are they still human? Would you forgive the friend who vanished into the woods and came back like this? Drop your answer below. The trees remember. Every time he closed his eyes, he was back in the clearing. Dean, blood, claws, the sound of muscle tearing, but the worst part, sometimes it was Tyler doing the tearing. He jolted upright in bed, gasping. The sheets were soaked in sweat. No, not sweat, blood. His fingernails were caked with it. His skin itched, pulled at the seams. He'd felt it coming for days now, under his ribs, behind his teeth. Hunger that didn't belong to him. Stupid. The motel's flickering vacancy sign buzzed outside. Beneath it, in the lot, Tyler saw movement. A man in a trench coat staring up at his window, not moving, not blinking. Tyler gasps, stumbles back. No, no, no. Hallucinations again? Or memories? He grabbed his jacket, keys, and the notebook he hadn't opened in years. He had to find Dean, had to know what they'd really agreed to, because now he wasn't so sure they'd made a pact with wolves. Maybe it was something worse. He drops to his knees, breath ragged. The notebook falls open. On the page, an old drawing. Two figures merging into one. One man, one beast, bound at the spine. The next page bleeds, literally. Ink drips from the letters. The form follows the fracture. The guilt grows the teeth. The betrayed becomes the beast. His hands tremble. His fingertips are darker now, clawed. His back spasms. The change is coming, and this time there's no running. Tyler, back arched, teeth elongating, eyes glowing under the blood moon. One clawed hand still clutching the notebook. Rain pouring down, screaming into the forest, not in fear, but in memory. Dean's voice again. Tyler, you didn't just run, you gave them my name. Tyler gasps. That never happened. Did it? Blood runs down his temples. His ears are shifting. Bones groan. No, he says, over and over. But the forest says nothing back. Some secrets can't stay buried. If you've ever doubted your own memory, share this before the wrong one comes back. The pact wasn't supposed to mean blood. Dean had held the book like it was sacred. His eyes glowed not with magic, but belief. Tyler, he just wanted out. Out of the trailer park, out of the factory, out of being powerless. We say the words. We share the burden. Half the pain, half the beast. One pack, one rule. They cut their palms and pressed them together over the page. Dean chanted. Tyler echoed, fumbling the syllables, and the wind howled as if something heard. His body still ached from the half-transformation. Bones rattled when he breathed, but the worst pain was mental, because now the real memory clawed its way through. He hadn't shared the burden. He shifted it. Dean had been arrested. Blood found on his boots. A missing girl no one could name. Whispers of a dog-headed freak. Tyler hadn't spoken up. He'd seen the beast in the mirror on his own face. But the town needed a name, so he gave them Dean's. It was him. He'd said to the sheriff, he changed. He lost control. I ran. The words tasted like rust, but they brought him silence and safety. Until now. Tyler finds the real passage, hidden in the binding. When betrayal marks the pact, the burden shifts, but not the guilt. The betrayer walks in flesh, but the curse festers beneath. And on the next red moon, both will bleed. Both. Dean never escaped the curse. Tyler never escaped the guilt. That's why the form was changing. That's why the claws didn't fit his hand. They weren't his alone. Sudden movement in the trees, a low growl. A shape. Dean, no longer fully man, not fully beast either. His spine was hunched, eyes amber, clothes ragged, but his voice still his. You remember now what you did? Tyler couldn't speak. He dropped the book. Dean stepped forward. You gave them my name, my life, my soul. Tyler falls to his knees. I didn't mean, but you did. The ground trembles. The wind howls again. Not in warning, in judgment. Dean throws the book at his feet. You want it back. Earn it. Sacrifice or rot. Then he vanishes into the trees, more shadow than man. Tyler picks up the book again, his hands shaking. Blood drips from the edges, his, Dean's, or something older, on the last page, scrawled in newer ink. There is no cure, only consequence. Could you live with a betrayal that saved your life, but cost someone else theirs? Comment your answer. The woods remember who spoke and who stayed silent. The motel outside Silver Pines. Arc 2:03 a.m. Rain splashes in sheets across the flickering neon. Silver Pines Inn sputters in red and blue. A blood moon reflected in cheap glass. Inside room 6, Tyler stares at his reflection. Not at his face, at what's beneath it. There's no cure, only consequence. Dean's words coil in his ears like vines. He flips through the cursed book again. Symbols flicker like they're pulsing with breath. His hands tremble, then claw. VR. Pain comes fast this time. Bones crack, nails stretch, skin boils, but this isn't the full change. It's worse, it's shared. Across town, Dean is waiting, not hiding, not hunting. Waiting in the ruins of the old high school gym, where they made the pact, where the lie began, and something else is there now too. Another shape, smaller. Human, barely, scratching at a locker door. Tyler's not the only one marked. He howls into a pillow to muffle the scream. Blood pools on the carpet. His left hand, not human anymore, but he's still in control. Barely. He wraps it in his jacket sleeve, takes the book, and drives. Dean steps from the shadows. No words, just stares, yellow eyes glowing. But then, a voice. Help me! They turn. A girl, 17, dirty, claw marks on her back. Eyes wide. She's shaking. She has the mark. Dean growls low. You infected her. Tyler's breath catches. No, I didn't. You started this. Now it spreads. The curse mutates when betrayal repeats. Dean didn't just carry it. He passed it when his rage took over last year. Tyler's betrayal didn't stop the beast, it multiplied it. They were both walking time bombs. And now others are paying the price. The girl collapses. Her scream becomes a snarl. Dean moves to end it. Tyler blocks him. The two clash. Not man versus beast, but guilt versus wrath. Dean slashes. Tyler bites. Neither of them wins. The girl's transformation halts mid-shift. Her eyes roll back. She whispers, "Stop fighting." They pause, and suddenly, Dean collapses. Breath ragged. The curse reacting. Too much vengeance, too much pain. The wolf chokes on hate. Tyler kneels beside him. We fix it, or we die like this. Dean gasps. Then fix yourself first, and passes out. Still with me? Then you've heard the howl too. Subscribe now, before the next full moon finds you. The forest is alive, not with animals, but with breath. Moonlight flickers through the trees like a strobe. Every branch looks like claws. Every howl, an echo of guilt. Tyler carries Dean on his back. Dean's bleeding from the side, unconscious. The curse gnawing at him from the inside out. Behind them, the girl, Maya, limps, clutching her stomach. The change hasn't finished. She's caught in limbo. Her voice flickers between human and monster. It hurts. Why does it still hurt? Tyler doesn't answer, because the truth is worse. She's not turning. She's becoming something else. A clearing. Tyler and Dean, younger, more hopeful. Blood packed beneath the full moon. A promise broken days later. Dean went to the cops. Tyler vanished. but not before Tyler sold them both out to save his own skin. The curse didn't come from the forest. It came from that choice. They reach it, barely standing, door half broken, silver traps rusted on the wall. Dean wakes in a cough of blood. "This, where we die," he croaks. Tyler drops him gently. No. He reaches into the old cabinet, pulls out the family rifle, the one their dads used, loads silver slugs. This is where it ends. Maya screams behind them. Her bones crack, not shifting, splitting. Her eyes go full black, a mouth too wide now. She's the result of guilt passed down too many hands. Not a werewolf. Something new. Something worse. Dean groans. She's not turning. She's erasing what we were. Tyler stands, face calm, hands shaking. Then, "I'll give her something to remember." The final hunt begins. Maya sprints, impossible speed. Tyler runs after her, never raising the gun. Dean limps behind, bleeding, following the blood trail with one good eye. The trees bend in the wind, like mourners. The moon is sinking. Time is running out. The place where it began. Tyler steps into the open. Maya circles him. She's silent now, all beast, no pain, eyes blank. Tyler drops the gun. "You want this to end? Then take it." He rips open his shirt, reveals the third mark, the one that only shows when you're past saving. Maya lunges. Dean screams. The gunshot cracks, but it's not aimed at her. Tyler shoots the sky, a distraction, then wraps her in a bear hug, clawed hands slicing into his back, and throws himself into the pit nearby. A natural drop, 20 feet deep. He takes her with him, silence. Then a second shot, muffled. Dean hobbles to the edge, looks down, nothing but shadow, no more howls. Dean crawls from the woods alone. He reaches the town road, bloodied, broken, sobbing. A truck slows. The driver yells, "You okay?" Dean doesn't answer. He stares at the rising sun, one last whisper in the wind. Debts paid. One howl, one heartbeat, one last chance. Subscribe now to see if sacrifice really saves anyone, or if monsters always come back. The woods are quiet now, not peaceful, just emptied, like a scream that finally ran out of air. Dean stands alone on the side of the highway, the pine trees at his back like silent witnesses. He's barefoot, bloody, eyes hollowed out by everything he saw, everything he did, or didn't stop. A single crow lands on the guardrail and watches him. He did it, didn't he? The voice is Maya's, but she's not behind him. Not really. Just a memory, or maybe the guilt, wearing her voice. Like a coat, he doesn't respond. Dean's arm is bandaged. He's staying in his late aunt's cabin now, the one she never used. The locals leave him alone. But every night he walks the woods. Every night he checks the pit where Tyler fell. It's still empty. No bones, no claw marks. Just silence. Like the forest buried the whole damn chapter. There's an old carving on a stone near the pit now. Dean doesn't know who put it there. It wasn't there before. A crescent moon. 2 wolves circling it, and a third shape in the shadows. Not beast, not man, underneath scratched in claw marks. The debt never dies, it only changes hands. Dean's final confession. He saved me. That's what I tell myself. That he wasn't just running from it, but towards something bigger. Redemption, maybe, or just silence. But I see things now, reflections that don't match, shadows that howl when there's no wind. He pauses. Whatever he became, it still watches, still waits. And I owe him everything. I just hope I don't have to pay it back. Dean walks down the old main road. Behind him, the mist coils through the trees. Something large shifts in the fog. A massive shape, too tall, too still. It doesn't move, it doesn't chase, it just watches, and then it's gone. He walked away, but the woods still watched. If a howl still echoes in your bones, like, share, and subscribe, because next time it might not be just a story, it might be your street. And for those who hunger for more, step deeper into the shadows with our ultimate werewolf horror playlist, linked in the description below. In the world of horror, the scariest things happen when you least expect them. And trust me, you don't want to be left in the dark. Welcome to the darkness.